Well, for the second successive day, it's absolutely horrible in the Alps. Really quite cold and wet, but high drama once again, and a really unexpected outcome today that I don't think, well, if we're honest as commentators, we didn't see that coming until maybe 150 metres from the line.
I genuinely think it's unprecedented. And because...
In what sense?
We've never seen Pogačar not race for the win in that situation. I think always, and it seemed like an absolute inevitability. I'm sure it was the same for Inoscio Grenaders and Narensman, and also the way UAE rode all day.
Correct.
It seemed that it was nailed on that he wanted to win the stage today. And yet on the final mountain, it was as if the wind went out to his sails. He just did what he needed to do to secure the Tour de France.
I wonder when that decision was made, because he did launch attacks. I mean, it's not like he didn't attack.
I think,
they were 80% attacks, weren't they?
I mean, we've talked about it a little bit in commentary, but we talk about cognitive load. I think he's tired. Yep. I think he's absolutely exhausted, and I think it's such a brilliant example of how much racing is psychological and how much of Tadej Pogačar, yes, physically, he's an absolute beast and phenom, but psychologically also, he's an absolute phenom. And for the first time, I think we're seeing a jaded, tired, exhausted, overloaded Tadej Pogačar.
Which I think really will get on to talk about the winner in a second and the other detail from the race, but it really does beg the question, what next for Tadej Pogačar? Because he had signalled that he was going to go to the Vuelta and just pick up that, with one leg, pedalling with one leg. I'm not quite sure that'll be the case anymore. Maybe he just needs a proper rest.
I think he needs a proper rest. I think he needs to go. I mean, let's not forget, you joked in comms, he's been flat out since 2019.
Yep.
He never stops. I think he needs a break. I mean, I think he's reached that tipping point where they need to just switch him off for a bit against his will, because if you look, even this year, he was going against his team's recommendations and desire to do Paris-Roubaix, and he takes on Milan-San Remo and does things nobody's done. He goes to every single classic. The guy just doesn't stop, and I think he's actually found, but he needs to do it himself because no one would tell him.
Yeah.
And I think the team will probably say now, it's probably a good idea you now just take the rest of the season off. And if in a few weeks you want to come back and do the Worlds, one days, that's fine.
Yep.
But the Vuelta is not a good idea.
And it's not as if UAE Team Emirates don't have riders who could win the Vuelta. They've got Joao Almeida if he's ready in time. They've got Juan Ayuso and they've got Isaac Del Toro.
Yeah.
All of whom are worthy leaders and probable winners. So they've got options there. Jonas Vingegaard finished in second place, just coming round. I mean, he kind of had to do that, didn't he? But they couldn't catch Timo Allensman ultimately in the end, and it was an extraordinary performance.
It was, and it was such an opportunistic and brave move from him. And also, it was the only thing he could do in that situation because he couldn't sit and wait for Tadej Pogačar to attack. He decided, you know what, there's a lull, there's the top two in GC just watching each other, I'll go now. And
did it three times as
did
well.
It three times,
the third time where he got the gap.
And the fact he got the gap and then just went and was indifferent to what the predictable race situation was. He was all in. He was completely invested. And once again, he proved just how incredible his climbing is at the moment. I mean, he just held it. He didn't really slow down. He just kept that same pace all the way to the finish line.
Now, Florian Lipovic rode a much more sensible and conservative race today, didn't he? He did what he had to do.
Yeah.
And it was comfortably good enough in the end to dispense with that serious threat from Oscar Onley, which is really unfortunate for Oscar, but it was a good race from Lipovic today, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was a smart race. Even when Tadej Pogačar did launch his first, let's say, big attack, Oscar Onley went with it and Lipovic didn't. He kind of paced back up to it. He was riding a much more considered conservative race. And Onley, it's normal. You know, he's 22. Perhaps that was an error in hindsight, but he wasn't to know that because when he did that yesterday, he was able to stay with them.
Yeah, and the learnings he'll take away from this Tour de France are immense. It's been a huge ride, and of course we've got 2 interesting days still to come. But Ineos Grenadiers have been rescued single-handedly by one star rider, and he's won in the Pyrenees and he's won in the Alps, and that man is Timo Allensman.
Timo, congratulations. The last time you did this, you had that nice 4-minute buffer. Not today. Do you feel yourself becoming the rider you've always wanted to be in the course of this Tour de France?
Yeah, like you said, first victory was already really special from a breakaway, but now it was just from the GC group, man to man, so yeah, unbelievable, no?
You built up that nice 40-second lead, and then it came back and back and back, and inside the final 500 metres. When did you think, I can relax, I've got this?
Never, only when I passed the finish line, I just didn't look back, just went all out to the finish, and that's all I was thinking about and all I could do basically.
2 beautiful stage wins and a second place on Mont d'Or as well. Where do you go from here? Is this establishing you where you want to be?
To Paris now, and then home. After a Giro and a Tour, I think it's already a really hard season, but super nice and beautiful season. So, but still a few months to go. So, but already it's been unbelievable and really nice.
Okay, let's hear your questions from stage 19. Seb Dove says, out of interest, question regarding feeding. As a sport of many unwritten rules, and there are some, are there unwritten rules regarding feeding from the cars? i.e., would Jonas attack if Tadej was grabbing a bottle from the car in a select group in the final 15 kilometres of a climb?
You wouldn't be generally in that situation anyway. I think when we're talking about the likes of Tadej Pogačar and Vingegaard when they're racing, there's no feeding going on that final mountain. I mean, look back, try to think of a time when any of those guys in the final mountain have fed. So, hypothetically, yes, but actually, it never really happens.
Yeah. Dave Collett says, are we seeing the conservative Pogačar due to him having one eye on the Vuelta? Well, Dave, I think we've kind of answered that, and we have no idea whether he's going to go to the Vuelta or not, but I think it's questionable now whether or not he's going to go, because of really this developing story over the last few days. Andrew James Jacko says, is Oscar Onley going to get third in the white jersey? Today's change, I think, works against him. I'm glad to see he's got self-belief now, though. Good luck to Oscar. Well, it's not inconceivable, but I'm not sure the race situation will allow for him to settle for anything else other than fourth place now.
No, and I think no, I just don't think so.
And even if it did, I'm not sure the legs are there against Lipovic.
I don't think so. And they've got Roglic is there now to actually bring things back. And no, I don't think so.
Yeah, the only thing that might have changed that was Florian Lipovic almost coming to grief on that zebra crossing in the final on the final sprint there. Chriselle Guzman says, why do we sometimes see riders squirt their water bottle onto the road after taking a drink? Love never strays far. Thank you very much. Enjoy the last weekend, boys. Yeah, they sometimes do that, don't they?
It's a desperate attempt to lose some weight.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's
few
literally
grams.
what it is. It all matters. Jim Barnett says, favourite jersey of all time? Should Pogačar wear a hybrid yellow and polka dot jersey on Sunday? I don't know about that.
Well, when I was in Sonny Duval, I was polka dot jersey and I had yellow shorts and everything, and it was awful. So
that was a clash of colours.
Yeah, not recommended.
Favourite jersey of all time? Yours?
I liked my Garmin Sharp one, actually.
The blue one?
Yeah,
Smart.
I thought it was a really nice one.
With your last victory at the Tour de France in 2012?
I really liked that jersey.
Look that up on Google Images. I'd go with that. Although I've got a poncho. I like...
Some of the retro is good.
I like the HTC Columbia.
Oh yeah, you do like that.
The blue one?
Yeah, that is a weird one to like.
Why?
Yeah.
The blue one?
Just find it quite weird one to like, but I like the fact you like it.
Right, Kath Files says, question for Ned and David. We frequently see riders miss or drop bottles and musettes held out for them by a soigneur at the side of the road. Given the millions spent on bikes, skin suits and other tech, has no team tried to improve on the unreliable outstretched arm as a delivery system for vital supplies? Good point. Perhaps something for performance engineer Alex Dowsett. I couldn't agree more. It is exactly something for performance engineer Sir Alex Dowsett.
Thanks for your question, Kath. So it is a good question, and as ever, there's a bunch of UCI rules limiting the advances in technology that there can be for this kind of thing. Firstly, the amount of fluids and nutrition that the riders have to take on is colossal, and then there is a weight factor at play. If the riders had to take all of the drink and all of the food that they needed for the whole stage, they'd probably be carrying a good 3 or 4, no, even more, perhaps 10 kilos extra on them, which is more than the weight of their bike, which is around 7 kilos. But the thing where I'd contest it, generally the bottles that the riders carry are only 500 millilitres. There are UCI rules on the size, the length, the size, the width and the capacity of those bottles. They can't carry less than 400 millilitres. They can't carry more than 800 millilitres. And I think where the piece of technology that would be really fun to see is what we see in triathlon with integrated storage for fluids and for nutrition within the bikes, which we just do not see on UCI specified or UCI rule-abiding Tour de France bicycles.
Okay, we're at the top of a mountain, as you can see. Tommy, if you just want to show that behind you there, look at all those cameras, look at all those vehicles there waiting to come down the mountain. You can see the policeman just sending a text message to perhaps his family there saying when he'll be home. The answer is he won't be home for hours and hours and hours. We had to drive 40 kilometres off Courchevel yesterday and it took over 3 hours. Today we've got to drive minimum 4 hours, and then after that, after tomorrow's stage, it's going to be a 5.5 hour transfer to Paris.
Good time.
Happy times. Do join us again for the penultimate today at the Tour tomorrow.
Tadej, I'm sorry, man. Tadej, Jonas picked up 2 seconds from you today. Is this the start of your big collapse?
Let's stop with the jokes. I need to go. I'm cold. I don't have time for jokes.